All right, Shalom Akim, coming back at it again with the part two. And so we were at Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. We're gonna start from the top, and it reads, "Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine." All right, and as we broke this down in the previous part, it's basically all his philosophies and how through his philosophies he exalts and he transgresses against Yahweh Hashem Shai because his philosophies are not conducive to a righteous lifestyle. All right, all that westernized way of living, the alphabet, the plantation Christianity is this devil's wine. All right, and it reads, he is a proud man, dealing with this God complex because he wants to be on the level of our heavenly Father Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And he does that in folly, and ultimately he's blinded by and deceived by his own pride. Because he's gonna get taken down spectacularly. Okay, so he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. All right, and that's the key point right there. That's the key point, because even though he conquered this side of the world, he conquered Europe from the Japhetic people. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't keep himself at home. His home is originally Mount Seir, out there in the Middle East, so called. That's where his homeland is. But it wasn't enough for him. And the next part of the verse is gonna go into that. It reads, "Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied." You see, because it wasn't enough for these devils to have their own appointed land out there in Edom, in Mount Seir, in Idumea. This devil went and conquered, the European. Basically, he conquered Europe from the Japhetic people, man. And then after that, during the time of the Renaissance, after he rose up from our people, ruling in Europe for 1,000 years. All right, he went and conquered this side of the world, man, the Americas. All right, which was, scriptures call it, scriptures call it, man, what was the name for it? Salaki, let me just check real quick. Because you had the 12 tribes, no, not the 12 tribes, 10 tribes that were inhabiting this place. All right, you had the 10 tribes that were inhabiting this place, as it was written in the book of Second Ezra chapter 13. Oh yeah, Arsareth. Okay, that's the original name of this land. All right, and yet and according to Second Ezra chapter 13, 40 on down to verse, 40. Let me see, verse 46. All right, it tells the story, or not the story, but it tells the history of how our people, the 10 tribes of the children of Israel, who made up the northern kingdom, how they came over here and they inhabited this place. you know and this devil went, according to, from the Renaissance, he went and conquered this place from them, man. Which is scriptures, not the scriptures, but yeah, I'd say the scriptures too. And scriptures say that this land was as how do I put it to you? This land was as, the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? So this place has more than enough for this devil, man. Everything that he took over had more than enough for him to, be happy. But that's not enough. You know, that's not enough. He has that insatiable thirst for power, and he wants the whole world. And after the whole world, he wants to go into the heavens, man. All right, that's why when you see all these space movies, that deal with the far future, who's the one ruling? It ain't no Moabite that got complete control. It's these devils, man. You know what I'm saying? And I like to use the fifth element as the main example. After he takes over the world, he's gonna go, to the rest of the creation, the universe, the heavens, so to speak, and he's gonna take over there as well, man. He's gonna expand his wickedness and his influence to the whole creation, or the universe, and that's why this devil's gonna be taken down, man. All right, so it reads, "Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." All right, because even though he wants to take over these people, he wants them gathered unto him so they could serve him. All right, So he could, continue being on top, and they could serve him. you know. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. You see? So these other nations are starting to revolt against the so-called white man. All right, and you can see it, especially with them Elamites and them Persians, you know, and Moab too. You got tensions out there in the Pacific Ocean because of that. These nations, they want next, but they're not going to get it. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booties unto them. You see? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land and of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Okay, so these nations are going to rise up against the so-called white man, even though they had that confederacy against us. All right, these nations are ultimately going to rebel against them. All right, so let me see. Oppress a man in his own home, Salakia. All right, let me just look it up on here. Oppress a man and his heritage. Okay, so that's the book of Micah chapter 2 and 2. All right, so the book of Micah chapter 2, I'm going to start from the top. And it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. All right, that's what this devil has done throughout the four corners of the earth. He got all these militaries set up everywhere. He got the whole world under his influence, and those that buck up against his wicked decrees, he kills them, man. Very much like you saw with the Haitian president. Which the reason why, I was watching that that lesson, live stream with Elder Manata Zakba, and one of the news anchors, had a slip of the tongue saying that none of the people in Haiti received the such and such, man, the sting, and then all of a sudden, that president gets assassinated. Us in this knowledge, we see past this devil's deception, man. And we already know his MO, the way he gets down. If these other nations, these other kingdoms don't abide by his interests, hey, he takes them down, man. He destabilizes them. He has their leaders assassinated. And the whole kingdoms, just go into hell, man. All right, and it reads, in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. All right, and that's why, all these nations are going to, that's why all these nations are going to ultimately rebel against this man. All right, that's why they're going to rebel against this man. That's why it's going to be ICBM thermonuclear missiles that's going to hit this place, man. All right, and that's how everything is playing out. Okay, that's how the Lord has everything playing out, because that's this devil's downfall. All right, the same way, it was written of our downfall, that we were going to turn our back on Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and all these curses we're gonna get put on us, and we were gonna be carried away captives into the land of our captivity, by nations whose tongue we could not understand. Right? We're reading about this devil's downfall. This is how they're going down. Okay, so all that, all that proud, that proud spirit that they have on them, thinking that they're not going to go down, that they're going to, live on forever and ever and achieve that level, is all just a facetious dream. Okay, it's just a pipe dream because the scriptures, will tell you of this devil's downfall to a T. All right, and the Lord, the reason why the lesson is titled as such is because this kingdom is the golden kingdom, the golden city of this devil's rulership. All right, this so to speak is their capital, because without this city they wouldn't have achieved, the level that they are because of our captivity. All right, so therefore the Lord is going to take them down. Same way they touched the apple of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's eye, which is Jerusalem, and by Jerusalem I mean the children of Israel. All right, because Jerusalem was a people before it was a place. All right, hey, the Lord is gonna take down Babylon, man. All right, so we're gonna go to the book of Revelations, chapter 18. I'm gonna start at verse 4 because all this, basically pertains to this kingdom being destroyed. All right, this whole chapter. So we're gonna read about it, Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. All right, just bring out the key points. I don't want to, drag the lesson on too much. We're already at part 2. And it reads, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues." Okay, because Yahweh Hashem Shai is going to send plagues upon this wicked ass kingdom. As this devil has plagued and oppressed and destabilized and destroyed all these other nations that are upon the earth, starting with our people. All right, guess what? The Lord's going to do the same unto them. All right, verse 5, "For her sins reach unto heaven." Okay, because this place is laden with iniquity, man. All right, like I stated earlier, only in Babylon, all right, with all that wine this devil transgresseth by, all right, will you see things such as the alphabet community? Will you see things such as, women encompassing the man? Will you see things such as pedophilia? They're trying to normalize that. This place needs to be destroyed, man. And the wicked are just becoming more bold in their iniquity. All right, and it reads, "And Yahweh Hashem Shai hath remembered her iniquities, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works." Okay, so with all this destruction that she has put on our people, all right, that this devil has put on our people, guess what? It's going to be double unto them. All right, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. You see? How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. All right, because they did all that and they lived deliciously through on the backs of our people, through our captivity. All right, "For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow." And that's talking about that, that spirit that these devils have on them. That will not, that they'll just continue to rule. They'll never be taken down. Verse 8, "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned down with fire. For strong is Yahweh Hashem Shai, who judgeth her." You see? That's what's going to happen to this place. All right, death, mourning, and famine. All right, hey, what we just, those clips that we saw, all that is getting ready to happen here in Babylon, man. All right, "She shall utterly be burned with fire." Dealing with them ICBM thermonuclear missiles. That's getting ready. That the Lord is basically preparing them, so to speak, to hit this place, man. All right, "For strong is Yahweh Hashem Shai, our power, who judges her. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning." All right, and hey, because again, you have, it is mainly the lower levels, for the most part, it's the lower levels of these heathens that that are bucking up against this devil, all right, because they're under his oppression as well. Even though it's not as great as the children of Israel, they're in a certain extent, they're to a certain extent, getting oppressed by this devil, because this devil wants them to get, stung up. You know what I'm saying? This devil wants them, you know what I'm saying, to partake in his wickedness. And you got people, you got heathens that are not for that. A good example of that is them Ishmaelites, them Arabs, and you got those in Afghanistan. I think that's Elam as well. That they're not down with all that wickedness. All that Western, philosophy that this devil's going over there with. That's why Esau's over there bombing them. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, this devil's going down. So verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her. All right, and then that's another thing too, because as you have the lower levels of these heathens that, for the most part, are kind of rebelling against this devil. All right, hey, the upper echelons, the top levels of these heathens, they're not. They're down with him because they know what the deal is. They know who we are. They know who's coming back. All right, and they're looking toward this devil to try and stop that. To try to prolong it, try to stop it. They're all hand joined in hand. And guess what? They shall not go acquitted. That's why all these nations are going into slavery, man. All right, and it reads, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. You see? In 1 hour will this place be destroyed by ICBM thermonuclear missiles. All right, and before that, guess what? It's going to be nothing but chaos. All right, it's going to be FEMA camps. It's going to be martial law. You're going to have the people rising up and rebelling against the government. It's going to be a dog-eat-dog world out there, man. Or out here. You have people, sedition among men. A man shall not have no pity toward his neighbor. But he shall come and spoil everything that his neighbor has. Those are the times that we're living in. You know what I mean? So with that, I'm going to say, Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Recha HaKodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. And these are just the things that's getting ready to happen here in Babylon, man. All right. And Lord willing, this was edifying. On to the next. Shalom.